So I'm going along, doing my job, getting these auditing sessions where I'm holding the soup cans, and my auditor is telling me that I'm doing really well, and I'm clearing out all these negative things in my brain. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of half bought into it at this point. Like, I'm not really sure, like, because I'm learning more about some of the weird people, not necessarily the weird techniques, but I'm starting to notice that some of these people who are supposed to be better are really strange.
Okay.
Like, there's a lot of yelling. There's a lot of anger regarding.
Are you noticing this? Are you noticing this in the session or at work?
Well, okay, so I've been going home, like, I was still living at my mom's house as a 20-year-old. And so the sessions themselves are very calm, very, very chill. Like, it's all about introspection and and talking about, like, hey, what's that? Like, literally, like I was talking about the dial on the meter. When it moves, the auditor is trained to inquire, not specifically, but generally, like, hey, tell me about that. And there's a technique that I can kind of explain, and it involves this idea that, like, I'm going to ask you this question, like, remember that time when you did that thing that you knew you shouldn't have done, but you got away with it? And then I wait, and I can wait as long as I want. And you're thinking, right? You're thinking about whatever that was, small, big, whatever. And I say, that right there, stop. Like, that thing that you're thinking about right now, what did you do? Like confess, and it's a really horrible thing to do to somebody.
Fucking
but it's
brutal.
really effective. It's really effective because it immediately puts someone on the defensive, and especially when you're in this kind of pseudo-professional environment where they're like, no, my machine is telling me that that's a thing right there. And unless you tell me what that is, then you're going to die. Like, you're going to fail. You're going to, you're going to get kicked out, whatever. Like, any threat will do. So you're building up a case file of all of the stuff that a particular person says they've done, and it's not even necessarily true. Like, a lot of times it's these, like, weird false confession situations where I'm just going to tell you anything just so you stop the interrogation. Sure. So this is going on. I'm becoming more indoctrinated, doing my job. I've got my little staff, and I'm doing well. Like, and then I'm approached by, like, my boss. Hey, there's another thing that we're going to do now. Like, lucky you, now you get to be detoxified. Like, I'm like, all right. So I was introduced to this thing called the Purification Rundown.
Okay.
And what that is you take basically an overdose of niacin and sit in a sauna and drink vinegar and take a multivitamin, and you sit in the sauna and you sweat, and then you're in there for like half an hour, and then you go out and run around the building, like you do laps around the building, go back in the sauna, sweat more, and so what starts to happen, because you've taken a bunch of niacin, your body starts to react with what's called a niacin flush, and what that is that your skin gets red, you become itchy.
Okay.
You know, you might throw up from a combination of the sauna, the physical exercise, the vitamins, and it's like an overabundance of vitamins, like not safe. It can cause liver and kidney damage. But what is being sold is that, oh no, that reaction is all of those toxins and drugs coming out of your body, which is like just not the case. But people don't know any better, especially pre-internet. People really didn't know any better. And you know, there have been some instances where people have died.
Yeah.
Doing this. And you do it for like 2 or 3 days, like for hours. And then that
so you did this?
Huh?
You did this?
I certainly did.
Jeez. Yeah. Okay, so then a phenomenon occurs?
Well, the phenomenon being that once it's over and you're through with this ordeal, again, just like that initial training course, you feel good. Like, and part of that is just because you're not in there anymore. Like you made it. Like you ran the gauntlet. You survived. You're now quote unquote detoxified. You know, and so that happened. Then I got promoted because, as I was mentioning earlier, that I noticed that people were not exactly who they claimed to be as far as their progress up the bridge, as they call it. The bridge to total freedom is that's what it's sold as.
Oh, God.
So people who have had higher level courses were supposed to be, like, by definition, better people.
Yeah.
But I didn't really see any clear evidence of that. In fact, that's when I started to break. when I really kind of started realizing that this was not real, it was not a good thing.
Yeah.
But I had been declared kind of the golden child, which is another thing that is done. Now I don't know how often, but I was declared like cured in a past life, like so that I was special, and I had all of these superpowers basically, like that went beyond people who were doing this for the first time. It was pretty undefined what these superpowers were, but you know, they knew I had them, and so my boss split. Like she quit basically, and I was promoted to a position where I was like the number 3 person in the whole organization at this big church. Like big in the sense that it was big in the sense that we were taking in, like, revenue-wise, $100,000 to $500,000 a week. Like big money, and none of that was reflected on the ground. None of that was like, I mean, the executive director of the church, you know, he drove a fairly new BMW and lived in a house with his family, who are all, of course, Scientologists as well. But nothing extravagant. Like, these were like just, you know, normal people being paid below what they were worth. So all of this money, I found out in time, was really going to lawyers who were all on retainers to protect the church against attack from outsiders, and that still remains where the money really goes to.
Damn.
So I got promoted kind of in a weird state where I really was like super unsure about a lot of things now, more operationally than the program was. But when I found out that they believed that, you know, I was clear in a past life, something that I 100% couldn't buy into, that kind of set my path on the way out, even though I didn't really know at that point how to escape. Because at a certain point I had been bought in enough so that when Christmas came around, like everybody got Scientology books and tapes as gifts, and which further alienated me from my friends and family, of course. And it got to a point where, even though I had a place to live, I had begun to refuse to go home and started sleeping in an abandoned car in the parking lot of the church. At least on some nights. Because it was embarrassing.
Was this? Yeah.
What about the parking lot?
No, I was just gonna say, you know, was this because you felt like your family wasn't joining, or because everyone, you know, from your old life was pretty much going, whoa, dude, you're kind of in with some crazy people.
Well, I wasn't even really talking to anybody else at that point because I didn't really have anything to say to them because I had been so removed from normal life that there was not any relating anymore unless I was trying to recruit them into Scientology. Like,
were you still going to school though?
No, I dropped out of school. I had a girlfriend at the time, and I had been trying to get her into it, and I had her like half convinced. So I got promoted. There was a big convention, like it was a big New Year's Eve convention at the Shrine Auditorium in Los Angeles. And like John Travolta was there, Tom Cruise was there, some other celebrities that I'm not aware of. They were all like, you know, it was very exciting. And I met these people, and we were like, you know, wow, we're doing this together. We're gonna save the world. A lot of cheering and like there's this thing where people like applaud like L. Ron Hubbard's photograph, right? Like,
oh my God,
every morning meeting, like you give them a hip hooray and stuff. Yeah. Right.
Idol worshipping, right? Okay, yeah, cool.
Sure. What's really interesting about that is that when Hubbard died in 1986, and because Scientologists believe in past lives, there was a lot of baby making too within the church, directly because all these people want to give birth to the new L. Ron Hubbard. Like,
oh my God, fucking hell!
So kids, and this goes all the way back to the school thing. These brats were allowed to be brats because they might be like the one,
right?
You know, if they're born after a certain age, or you know, after 86 or whatever. So they might be like the second coming.
Yeah.
And so they're really given all these allowances for all kinds of like atrocious, like rude behavior. So there's that too. Scientology kids, like, bless their heart, but they're awful.
Yeah.
So I'm going along. It's horrible.
So you're going along?
I'm going along, I have all this new responsibility.
I mean, this must be quite overwhelming for a 20-year-old.
Oh, very.
You must be making decent money at this point too.
At this point, like, I think I'm okay. So this was back like in the early 90s.
Okay.
So if I recall correctly, I'm making like $400 or $500 a week. Good.
Okay.
That's fine, right?
Yeah.
It's fine. But it's weird when I think back. Like, I don't know what in the world that money was spent on. Like, I can't even remember.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it mattered. Like, I don't know. It's really weird. Like,
were you drinking and smoking, or were you drinking and smoking at this time, or were you clear?
Oh, no, no drinking, certainly, but everyone was like smoke like chimneys, which is also this strange phenomenon too in that group. Like, and I think part of that was some weird, like, I mean, smoking is smoking, but I think it was like some weird defense mechanism, like to calm people down, get themselves like centered in some weird, like, subconscious way. Like,
well,
or a cure for anxiety.
Yeah, it's a what do you call it? Nootropic. It's a nootropic. It helps with sort of focus as well.
Right. The level of smoking in that group is much higher than in any other, like, given group, for sure.
Did you smoke inside? No.
Oh yeah. Oh sure.
Inside the church.
Well, if you want to call it a church.
Yeah. But yeah. I mean, it's church grounds. That's Scientology property. There's people smoking in there. That's interesting to me.
Oh yeah, we had like ashtrays on our desks in the offices and stuff, for sure. Yeah, and like.
Oh, holy shit, man.
Yeah. I mean, there was no smoking in like the in the meetings, or in the.
Yeah.
There was no, like. It's so weird to even call it that, because it's a church in name and tax purposes format only. In fact,
there's no like congregation hall though. It's not like a congregation hall.
No, I mean, we all congregated in a room, in like a big multi-purpose room.
Yeah.
And there's like there's like this pseudo kind of sanctuary thing, but because it's so all inclusive, like any religious philosophy will fit into Scientology.
Yeah.
Like, whether you're a Christian or a Buddhist or an atheist or whatever, they can accommodate you. Like, in fact, once you're in there, oftentimes it's really explained more as a philosophy of life than a religion, to get people to be okay with it.
Yeah.
So there's this conflict even internally versus externally about whether or not it's a religion. I mean, how can you be a church but not a religion? Many countries have, Canada, France, Germany, Australia at this point, have all stripped them of tax-exempt status. Germany has made Scientology illegal, like right up there with Nazism. Like, like it's illegal to be a Scientologist in Germany.
Yeah.
Like, or, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you're not illegal as a person for having these beliefs, but Scientology
practice
itself is banned.
Yeah.
You cannot organize a Scientology church in Germany. They'll just shut you down. Like,
yeah.
That says a lot. Like, like
yeah, it does.
It really does. So now I'm running in two different directions. Like, I'm realizing that a lot of this is fraud, but I'm still into it enough so that I don't really know what I want to do with my life, because it seems like I've been so cut off from the world, and I've been so indoctrinated into these beliefs that I don't really believe, that I don't even have friends anymore. Like, they've all basically said no thanks. But my girlfriend is sticking with me. So at this big convention, I get the idea that I'm going to sign up for the elite organization of Scientology called the Sea Organization, or the Sea Org. And those are the people that you see out on Hollywood Boulevard in the fake Navy outfits.
Okay.
And they all live in this building. And, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna make music for Scientology. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
And that's out in, near Hemet, at this place called Golden Era Studios. There's a bunch of Scientology front organizations that I will include in the show notes, so that people can be aware of, like, Ability Plus, Golden Era, Applied Scholastics, Delphi Academy.
Right.
All of those places are Scientology, and in more or less disguised, like, as other outside agencies. Even a group called the Cult Awareness Network, which used to be a database that allowed people to determine whether or not a particular organization was a cult. And, basically, like, hey, red flag, don't go here, because this place will, like, whisk you away to wherever, and you'll be walking around in saffron-colored robes and whatever. So Scientology bought the Cult Awareness Network in the 90s, and so they still look like they operate as a clearinghouse for, like, cult awareness. But Scientology is no longer in that group. Like, they removed themselves.
That's crazy.
They removed themselves from the watch list. So it can be very insidious. Like, they have a reach that people don't necessarily understand, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. Their reach, it's mind blowing, is what it is. Like, the links that this group will go to reach out and touch people in not so nice ways. So my girlfriend and I are at this big thing, and I get the idea that I'm going to sign up, because I feel like I don't have a lot of options, and now, at least I've got her, Yeah. We're going to do this together. So we both sign up, and I sign a 1 billion-year contract with the Church of Scientology that I'm going to dedicate, like, 1 billion years to the church. And it's really weird. It's a weird situation, and it seems okay. And then, like, within a week, she snaps out of it, and it's like, you're too fucking weird. Like, you've got that that 1,000-yard stares. You got this fake weird smile on your face. You don't blink anymore. And I can't do this. And that was the beginning of the end of my like sanity in a lot of ways. And so, you know, I don't recall how long after, but at this point I had been a part of the church for excuse me, nearly 2 years. I was almost 22.
Jesus.
And one morning, you know, this weird thing happened to me. I woke up, and I don't ever recall having this happen or remember like a circumstance, but I remember waking up but not opening my eyes, like becoming awake and knowing I was awake, but refusing to open my eyes.
Yeah.
And I wasn't getting out of bed. I was done. Like I was not going anywhere. And throughout the morning, weird stuff started to happen. The phone rang down the hall. The phone rang again, like half an hour later. At a certain point, and I don't know, maybe hours later, there was like a knock at the door. And then suddenly I sensed that people were in the backyard.
Whoa.
And then there were people in the house. And people were knocking on my bedroom door, which was locked. And like hours went by. And remember, I was awake in bed with my eyes closed this whole time. Like I just refused to like see the world. And then I heard like commotion out in the hallway. Like my mom had come home from work and was shooing people out of the house.
Whoa.
Then I heard her knocking on the door, and I wouldn't answer her either.
Yeah.
And then at some point, my door like smashed open, and I was being yanked out of bed in my underwear, slapped around, and accused of like being on drugs, and being yelled at by this man, like, why are you doing this to your mom? Like, and I didn't know it exactly at the time. I mean, I opened my eyes, right, and I saw a friendly face. I saw the person who had yanked me out of bed was a guy named he's since passed away. His name was John Stanton, and he was a guy in his 50s, I think, ex-Marine, super sweet man, friend of the family.
Yeah.
So my mom called him because he was like willing to like rescue me, right? And it was just like, you know, I at that moment I become like removed. I was not in any way like free yet, but at least I was done. And that was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. Like that moment, just 30 seconds of being like saved, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know what to do. I remember later that night sitting on the couch, like discussing like not like leaving, and like going back to school, but still in like a crazy like fog. And you know, I did all that, and then a weird thing happened. 6 months later, I actually went back.
Whoa.
To make like some kind of amends, and
Yeah.
for a matter of a couple of hours, I was ready to join back up, and they asked me to do some like yard work out front, and as soon as I like began to like dig around in the dirt, I realized that what I was doing right then was real, and that what they were wanting me to get back into was absolutely not real. Like, what am I doing? Like, it snapped me out of it. The earth itself, like, broke me free again of this. And yeah, you know, it didn't really end. Like, I mean, I suffer consequences from that experience, to this day.